Hello Chocolatiers, welcome back to another video. Today I am ranking all 11 movies that I watched in the month of May this year. And before I get right into it, I just want to already say this. I know my list is going to be controversial as I started looking over it myself and I was like, I believe that number. I believe that. I do my Letterboxd rankings and stuff and I move movies as soon as I watch them. And so it's pretty much how I felt outside of the theater. Now, I do tweak every now and then. I actually tweaked this list about 3 days ago. And this is my list. This is my opinion. So please, fuck off. All right, let's get into this list. Number 11, Tarot. What an actual piece of dog shit. If you have not seen that review, please click on, go on the channel, go find it. Go look up this chocolate Tarot. Please. One of my best rants I've ever done. Didn't get that many views because nobody cares about this movie. Except for children, which is what this movie was made for. Unfortunately, this is the one movie of the year that's actually been profitable. And that means we're probably going to get more of these. And so this movie, I guess I should get into why I dislike it if you didn't watch the review, if you don't want to. This movie is like PG-13 Final Destination, but in all the worst ways. Because to me that can work, and I've seen it work in some instances. But it's one of these movies where they have great creature designs and, you know, great things that they're going for, but they don't give the cast enough time in the room to breathe. You'll have 2 or 3 people drop within the first 20, 30 minutes, and half of them I don't even care about yet. Then the cast they give you to care about, I still don't really like, because once again, no room to breathe, there's no build-up, they're just already friends. And there's just a heap of load of problems with this movie, and that's why it's last on my list. Coming in at number 10 is a movie I pissed somebody off on. One person watched my Garfield review, and they said it's not awful, apparently. And I don't even know why. I almost took that back. I looked back at what I commented, and I was like, dude, why the fuck did I say that and be a little pussy, okay? This movie's awful. There's like a few good things in it that's okay. But I promise you, if Tarot didn't come out this fucking month, Garfield would have been last for sure. It's a movie that didn't need to be made. It's a movie that doesn't know who it's being made for. It makes no sense. And the plot's boring. The characters are boring. The only really good thing it has going for it is the animation, which I'm not gonna lie, pretty crisp. I really liked the way Baby Garfield looked. It was pretty good. But yeah, outside of that, awful film. Even kids will be bored of it, okay? A family member of mine that came to the theater that was a child fucking went to sleep. I'm sitting there going, damn. The good thing about it, though, was I went to Olive Garden afterwards at the Garfield little meal thing they're doing. Shit was gas, I ain't gonna lie. Check that out. Coming in at number 9 is The Strangers Chapter 1. Way to not let a franchise fucking die, right? So The Strangers Chapter 1 is The Strangers Chapter 1. And if you understood that joke, then you're a real one. What I mean by that is that it's the first movie. It's the original Strangers thing that came out in 2008. It's that movie done again, but like worse. And I'm not the biggest fan of that movie. Like, I like things that they were doing with it, but I still don't love that movie. I'm a big fan of Pray at Night, which I heard is like a discourse online. It's like, which one's better? To me, I don't give a shit because I think they still post shitty. Like, Pray at Night's still not that good, if I'm being honest. I just really like the third act of that movie. The third act of that movie goes, man, I can forget some of the first and second act being shitty. But yeah, this is definitely a movie that also shouldn't have been made. Let the franchise fucking die. And then they announced, no, we have 3 of them coming out. And it feels like a TV show, like half the time, like just the way it's filmed, just the way, I don't even know. Like, it's just not good. The only good thing I liked in it, which I actually am changing from my original review perspective, I did like the 2 main characters. I like Madeline because she's got a fat old ass, but I liked Homeboy though. He actually, the guy in the movie, I started to grow to like him. Like, he was pretty cool, and that's about it. It's like 2 or 3 things that might be good with it. Yeah, that's about it. Now, coming in at number 8, this is where I believe the good movies start to come in. Back to Black. This movie's not awful. It's just only so low on my list because I think everything else that came out this year was, or this month, was better than it. But this movie's a really good biopic. Where it falls flat for me is I wish that there was, I don't know, I just wish there was more emphasis on certain things. Like, I feel like this movie at certain points feels very rushed, especially the third act. I feel like they just kind of get to that ending. But outside of that, though, I think critics were definitely wrong on this. Like, it's sitting like a 30-40% Rotten Tomatoes. That's not true. If you are a fan of Amy Winehouse, or if you're like me, you really know much about her, I think you should definitely go check out this movie. It's very, very, very good. Coming in at number 7 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This movie is also very good. I like where they're going, story-wise, leading off from the third film. I like what they did with the character of Caesar, even though he's not in this film. They have stuff that they do with that, and I really appreciated that for sure. But where this movie depreciates for me is the runtime. I love a 3-hour movie. As you guys know, I've already said at the beginning of this video that my favorite film this year is Dune Part 2 so far. I love The Irishman, movies like that. But this movie, there are just scenes where, I was talking about how I feel like Taro should add character development. I feel like this movie, which I don't think Taro should have been that fucking long. No, please God, don't make the sequel that long. But I feel like this movie kind of took more of like a thought of that, where like, man, we gotta give everybody character development, even people that don't like people that are in the movie for like 5 minutes, and it just spends so much time. Like, the intro scene is so prolonged. The third act is really good, but once again, kind of overstays its welcome. And I do really love where they're going with it, and I really did love this movie, even though I was saying some negative things about it right there. But this is definitely a movie that I'm more excited for the sequels. So kind of like in a Rise of the Planet of the Apes type of deal, where it's like you really love the first one, but there's problems that you see and feel with it, and hopefully they can make a Dawn of the Planet of the Apes out of this. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. Coming in at number 6, I do want to preface this. A little bit biased on this one. So it's Turtles All the Way Down. It's based on a book by John Green about this girl who basically has this, anxiety disorder where she thinks that germs and bacteria and everything like that is out to kill her, which I'm like, it is, but she thinks more so, right? And it's a really good film. It's one of those type of movies where when you watch it, it's just kind of like a feel-good film. It's definitely not perfect in any shape of the imagination, which is why it's on HBO Max for a reason. But that's not to shit on it either. It's a very good movie. Where it loses points for me, and this is why I said the bias kind of comes in too, I read the book like not even like a day before I watched this movie. Like, I finished reading it, and I had been reading it for the past month. And it's just one of those things where there's character development in the book, which I get, a book's longer technically. But this book doesn't have like hardly any space in between the letter, like between words and stuff like that. And so this book, like, you could probably read a page in like less than a minute. Like, that's how many words is on it. It only took me so long to read it because I started reading other things, and at one point I just stopped reading. Then I went on a trip. It was a whole lot of shit going on last month, and I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, well, really and truly, you could probably read this book in like less than a day, which would, to me, if you're a fast reader, I think you read this book in like 4 hours or something like that. And I was like, condensing that in a 2-hour film, I feel like will be fine. And there's just so much stuff they condensed and like took out. Like, there's stuff that happens at the end of this movie that you feel more, like, for example, like when I read the book, I was like, oh shit, that happened. Like, when you watch this movie, you're like, oh, that's like an afterthought. Because it's like, there's stuff they just didn't care about like they did in the book. And that's where it kind of lost me a little bit. Coming in at number 5 is a film I actually just recently watched. That is In a Violent Nature. I love this movie. I don't think it has many problems except for certain things with pacing. And I feel like I beat the dead horse, as everybody said that, and I knew that going in. But I really started thinking about it that night when I watched with my friends, talking about it as I was leaving the theater. Kind of thinking, because okay, I love the kills. I was loving the story of the killer Johnny, and I was loving stuff that they did with him, his design, stuff like that. But it's one of those films where I think you have to also grade a film on rewatchability, right? And even like all the films I just named, even like Taro, it's very rewatchable. This movie, I feel like if you watched it, it would only be once around Halloween, and if you did, I feel like you'd be bored halfway through it, because unlike a Halloween where you're following the characters, or unlike a Friday the 13th where you got this and that and all this other crap going on, this movie has the pacing kind of at a halt. And when you're watching his experience for the first time, it's awesome. You're like, love this pacing, love how slow this is. But I don't know. Like, even like at certain points, especially towards the end, it kind of almost got to grinding halt. Especially considering the second act is just crazy. Because the first act's build up, second act is crazy, batshit at the wall. And then the third act is just kind of And for me, even if I don't grade it based on rewatchability, which for my score I didn't, I do want to grade it on the fact that the last act, just like I get what they were doing, just kind of comes to a halt, and it just kind of ended up being alright. But the movie itself still pretty good with an alright ending. Coming in at number 4 is a little movie that nobody around me was showing. Thank God when I went on my little trip, I got to watch it because that theater down there was showing it. It happened to be an AMC, by the way, too. I saw TV Glow. TV Glow. Really don't know how to explain this movie without going on spoilers. I suggest watching the trailer. But it's like a weird artsy-fartsy movie. And I brought people to the theater with me, and I told them that, and it's people that don't really like movies like that. And of course they didn't like it. But for me, take all the artsy-fartsy stuff out of it, like oh man, it's a metaphor, this and that. This movie's got good cinematography. This movie's got good character development, good character moments, good build-up, good creature designs, because there's creatures from like a TV show that show up in this movie, and it's just really good. It was rated as like a horror movie. There's like one scene that's actually kind of creepy and kind of scary. But outside of that, it's pretty tame, and it works more like a sci-fi type drama. And for me, it worked. I don't know going into the future if I'll change my mind on how this movie is. I plan on buying the physical when it comes out. Support your physical media, by the way. But yeah, I think it's one of those type of movies where it'll stand the test of time to see where this goes, to see if it has its little cult following, what happens. Because that ending definitely got people in my audience pissed off. I heard the sighs. I heard people get up. They was mad. Surprised myself. Okay, surprised myself with this list. This top 3 is going to actually make you potentially shit your pants. So coming at number 3, a movie I thought was going to be my number 1 for May without a shadow of a fucking doubt. Furiosa. I don't have any problems with this movie. I just thought the other 2 movies on this list were better, or at least had some kind of impact on me. But Furiosa, I don't think should be flopping. I dealt with a lot of that and talked a lot about that in my review, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse and continue talking about that. But it's a really good prequel, really good follow-up to Mad Max. I do think that release-wise, it should have came out a couple years after Mad Max on the hype train, and we might have had some franchise going from there. But here we are, 10 years later, we're finally getting Furiosa, and it's not like a Black Widow type of prequel where you're like, oh, what the fuck is the point? It's, there's stuff that happens in it where you're like, for example, Chris Hemsworth is not in Mad Max, so you're clearly like, oh, okay, but it's just the performances, it's the scale, it's the scope, it's the action scenes, it's everything that you pretty much wanted from any kind of Mad Max movie, from this world that what is his name, George Miller, that he created, and I definitely want more. Apparently he has a sequel and a prequel in mind with Mad Max, so he'll be back. But hopefully we can get Tom Hardy back and make this prequel and sequel. Well, actually, I guess he would be in the prequel. Never mind if he changed up Homegirl to Anya Taylor to make her, younger or whatever. I guess unless it's not a younger Mad Max, it could be going into like right before the events of the film. But yeah, great movie, awesome time in theater, saw it at IMAX, and I did not leave disappointed. Chris Hemsworth, boy out there getting his bag. Now, speaking of getting his bag, Ryan Gosling. You already know what film this is. My number 2 is damn near was my number 1. I change this every day. Like I said, just change this list again 3 days ago. So just know if you disagree with what my number 1 is, there's a good chance it might be number 2 next week. Okay, The Fall Guy is my number 2. The Fall Guy is just such a fun movie. It's got all this action, got all this romance, But below ground, it's just got great acting. You get Emily Blunt. You get Ryan Gosling. What more do you need? Okay. I think the movie's plot's really good. I think the storytelling, the script, everything about it's awesome. I love how they talk about stuntmen and go into that and deal with that. And it's like a movie made for the stuntman. Once again, another movie, it's not really doing that well because they keep putting the shit on streaming like within 2 days. But if this ever does get a sequel and it improves on that, I would much love this. But this is the type of movie where, guess what? Don't have to get a sequel because it was just that damn good. And that's why it's my number 2. I already know I'm gonna get hate on this because I did not even know until about a week ago that people hated this fucking movie as much as they did. I must have been on something. Like, I must have, like, because I think I ate Red Lobster right before this. Dude, that fish must have tainted my stomach lining or something. I am going to have to watch this movie again. I'm probably going to change my opinion because I usually don't. But Jesus. My number 1 is If. I'm fucking sorry. This movie brought the magic back for me, like, for certain, well, not for certain films, but I should just more say for kids' films. Because I've gotten to the point now where, like, if I watch a kids' movie, unless it's some old shit like Toy Story that I already have know and seen and love, it don't do nothing for me. Like, Despicable Me 4, I'm not excited for. I did not like Despicable Me 3. I love 1 and 2. I don't give a shit about 4 because I do not like 3. I do not like the Minions movies. You know, the bad guys, okay, it's alright. You know, I already done told you, Garfield's ass. Like, the kids' movie's just been kind of, cash grab, money, ooh, sequel. And for us to, which I get to think technically the original, it's about imaginary friends, but for me, like, just even like the opening scene of this movie, where you get all this sadness, but also at the same time all this happiness, you know, it brought me back in a way to my childhood. Like, made me think about stuff like it. Like, I teared up in the theater, no shit. And like, I remember telling people how good this movie was, and like, it's people that saw it, and they're like, fucking trash. I'm like, bro, what? I was out there, my fat, overweight ass was out there crying. I was in the theater. I was like doing this shit, trying to like hide it. I was like, oh fuck. I was like, oh, what do you mean? Like, dude, I was out there. I was out there about to break down. The movie resonated with me so much. It was so powerful. I'm sorry. I do not give a fuck. I've been contemplating making this video because I was like, dude, that shit's still my number 1. I'm sorry. I said, but bro, fuck the haters. This is my opinion, okay? This is my channel, damn it. Shit ain't gonna get no views anyways. My opinion. I love this movie. It's good. And you know, it's one of those things where just the character designs are awesome. The idea is great. Like, I love this movie. I'm sorry. It's definitely not going to be my number 1 of the year for sure. I think right now, based on everything I've seen, I think it's ranked like number 10. 8, 9, 10. It's like around there, like on like my overall over the year list. So it's nowhere close. If you haters, if that affects you, just know it's not close to my number 1. Please subscribe. But yeah, with that, speaking of which, that was all the movies I saw in May. I had a fun time at the theaters. I pretty much only saw like 2, 3 bad movies. And yeah, with that, please like and subscribe for more. I do these lists every single month. This one's actually coming out a little bit later. But yeah, stick around for full movie reviews. That's what I do here on the channel this week, where I'm actually reviewing Bad Boys 4. Very excited for. And I'm actually a little excited for the watchers because I've read the book. And I'm a little scared because I usually have never read the books for things that I've seen before. Like, every now and then you get something weird like Dune or something like that, but there's already been adaptations on that. But Turtles All the Way Down really threw me off because I've never been like that, like a book reader. Like, I was like, dude, why aren't they showing this? I was like, dude, that's fucking crazy. That's how people feel. And so I hope that doesn't happen with watchers. I hope it's really good. And yeah, hope you guys stick around for more, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.
I love my popcorn. Movies, popcorn.